This right here is a 1973 Volkswagen Beetle, and as you can see, it got a little hot. I drove over 3 hours to pick this thing up down in South Florida. The previous owner told me it caught on fire about a year ago, and the reason it caught on fire is because the gas lines. In old cars, Volkswagens especially, gas lines like to fall apart and deteriorate over time. So if you have an old car, especially a Volkswagen, and you haven't changed those gas lines, this should be your sign to go ahead and do that. This car used to be really nice. The previous owner showed me some pictures of what it looked like before, and it was well loved and well taken care of. It's pretty sad to see it in this condition now. I seem pretty heartbroken by the whole thing. So hopefully I can do it justice and rebuild this thing, at least get it running back to what it used to. A little backstory about me, Volkswagen Beetles are my favorite car. I've owned way too many Volkswagens, especially Beetles, to count on my hands. Maybe if I had about 3 sets of hands, I can count all the ones I've owned. I don't know what it is about them. Maybe it was because my first car was a Volkswagen Beetle and I drove that thing to high school and back. That was the first car that I really fully customized. I guess it all goes back to that and why I still really love Volkswagens. I really love working on old cars and bringing stuff back to its former glory. I'm really excited and really happy to have another old Volkswagen Beetle in my possession. It's been a while since I've had one, and I really missed it. I'm really excited to work on this thing. As you might be able to tell, this thing is very low to the ground. This is not stock height by any means. This is probably 8 inches lower than what it's supposed to be, maybe. I'll show some videos or some clips of what a stock Beetle looks like, and this is a lot lower. In my personal opinion, this looks way better. I did have a bit of an issue getting it on the trailer. I actually tore off this driver's side running board and bent it up pretty good. I'm gonna have to replace that. I think it was already in bad shape, but something I have to replace along with a lot of other stuff I'm gonna get to. But this thing is very low to the ground. I had to put it on a hill to get it off the trailer, but it's off and we're able to push this thing around. It's very light. I'm able to push it around by myself. Let's start with the front end. There's a few differences between a 1973 Beetle and this Beetle. This hood is for an older Beetle. The reason I know that is because the 1973 Beetle hood would stop about right here, but this one goes all the way down. So I know some work has been done up here, but it all looks pretty good on the inside. I don't see any major rust in the front area, but I will show you some signs in the back that might be hiding some rust. Along with the hood being from an older year, I believe these turn signals are also from a little bit older of a year. I think the 1973 has a bit bigger turn signals, but I do like the smaller ones way better. Fits the look a lot better. Same thing with this front bumper. This is not a 1973 front bumper, but I do like the look a lot more. Up underneath the hood, you might be wondering what this is. This is actually a little air compressor, and that is because the front end actually has air ride. The front end has air shocks, so it can go up and down with a little push of a button. Not sure if it works anymore, because a lot of the wiring got burnt up, but we'll get to that eventually. From what it looks like underneath the hood, nothing really got touched by the fire, which is good because I think this gas tank is still full of gas. Now let's go ahead and open the door and show you what the inside looks like. Not good. It's still kind of there. Luckily, the glass up here didn't get touched. Kind of. I think that's savable. I'm not too sure about that. But the fire pretty much touched everything in here, all the way up to the dash. Now, I didn't get it too terribly in the dash, but everything will still have to be replaced. It looks like the speedometer might be savable, but maybe not. This gauge definitely gone. The radio's gone. Steering wheel, pretty rough. Glove box, pretty rough. Yeah, pretty much all that needs replaced. Looks like he already started taking these seats out, but all of them are pretty much toast. They look like burnt marshmallows. In the back, pretty much the same thing. It looks like the bottom seat looks okay, but this top seat is pretty much gone all the way down to the wire and the frames. There is a battery back here, but that's not where it goes. It's supposed to go underneath this seat right here. There looks to be a battery underneath there, but I gotta take apart all this interior to get to it. Now going off the pictures, this interior actually looked very nice. I'm not sure about the headliner because I don't have any pictures of that, but the seats and the door panels and everything else look pretty solid. It's unfortunate because redoing these seats is gonna be expensive. Also, just because I wanna show off my knowledge a little bit, these seats are not for a 1973. These are low back seats, which are from a little bit older of a year model. The seats that are actually supposed to go in this are a little bit higher and they have a head support. And believe it or not, I actually have a whole set of 1973 seats in my backyard. They were extras from a project I had years ago. I prefer the low back seats, but free seats are free seats. Driver's door looks okay, but once you get up close, you can see some bubbles starting to form from the heat. So unfortunately, this door panel will also have to be replaced, which we were already going to replace everything in the interior already, but it'd been nice to have one good door. We'll say that's good. It's pretty good. So overall, the interior everything needs to be gutted and replaced and painted. But that's not even the main point of the fire. The main point of fire is underneath this. Oh, you think it's savable? It might still run, maybe. I'm being a little bit optimistic, I think. It doesn't look too terrible. I haven't checked to see if it is locked up yet, but it doesn't look too bad. I think I could pull this out and put some new parts on there and it would still run. These Volkswagen Beetle engines are pretty indestructible. Being a bit optimistic, but I think it's possible. Yeah, the motor looks pretty bad. I think it's fixable. I'm not really too sure. I won't be able to know if anything major got melted, like the block or anything, until I actually pull it out. But for the most part, I think it may be savable. But while we're in the back, I do want to point out some other issues that are maybe going on. One right here is a lot of Bondo. This whole section is pretty much Bondo. I know why there's Bondo right here, but I don't know why it came all the way down low, because this doesn't look very dented in. So I'm not really too sure what's going on underneath there. The fire exposed a lot of it, but not too bad. I've seen a lot worse. You can see someone before replaced some metal right here. They welded it all in. It looks pretty decent. Not perfect, but not too bad either. Moving over to the other side, there's some rust holes right here. It's a pretty common spot. Same thing right here. And same thing on the passenger side as the driver's side. This got all cut out and welded up and replaced. On these 1973 models, there is a vent that's supposed to be right here that helps cool the motor. They are really ugly, and I don't blame the previous owner for covering them, but I do want to fix it the right way by cutting it all out and making it flush. That way we don't have to use so much Bondo to fill it. Overall, the fire didn't absolutely destroy this thing. The main metal is still pretty good. The roof, I don't see any major dents or warping in it. The vents back here are all pretty straight. All it really did was rip off the paint and expose a lot of the old rust that we have to deal with. I do think I'm going to replace this deck lid because these vents are all warped, but luckily I have an extra one of these too in the back that's in better shape, and I think we can fix and make work for this. Now, we've really only scratched the surface of this car. We still need to take everything out, disassemble it all, and make sure everything else is in good shape. The floor pans like the rust out on these, along with some other quarter areas that we need to dig into. We need to make sure that motor still works. We just need to check over everything, and to do that, we need to start taking this car apart. So with that being said, let's go ahead and push it into the garage and start taking apart the interior, taking it all apart, taking it all out, and making sure that floor pan is in good shape, and then we can move on to other things. Let me know in the comments if you guys are optimistic about this build. If you think it should be just completely totaled out or parted out or put a new body on the frame, let me know in the comments. But for right now, let's go ahead and pull it in the garage and get to tearing this thing apart. In that 10-minute break, my dad bought a new project, so that's what that is in the background. Let's see if we can push this in there. Come on. That's about as far as I'm getting. Let me show you what comes in handy in this garage. Right down here, I have a winch mounted into the floor. It's gonna winch it right up. I guess let's go ahead and just dig right into it. Take out these seats first. This right here is a shelf that goes right above your legs when you're sitting down. It's actually in okay shape. Maybe a little deformed. And these seats aren't even bolted down. I didn't know this passenger side wasn't bolted down either. Here's something interesting I didn't notice. These red seats are just covers to black seats underneath. Maybe not as nice as I thought they were. Either way, they're not bolted down, so that makes it a lot easier to remove everything. All these rods are for the headliner that used to be there. That's what holds the headliner up. More floor mats and some carpet. Not burnt carpet, actually. I don't see anything burnt on it. All right, let's go ahead and get this back seat out. Bunch of glass everywhere. Yeah, this back seat's not even bolted in. It's supposed to be bolts holding this backrest in. So evidently the previous owner already took a lot of this out. We are cleared. All the interior is out. There's supposed to be a battery up underneath here. I don't think there is, but nope, no battery. That's all the foam from the seats, just falling out from being burnt. Maybe some rats, I'm not sure. Perfect rat nest. Yeah, a bunch of glass. You can see all the glass everywhere. One positive to take away is the floorboards are pretty much perfect. I don't see any rust holes in them at all. Not really any surface rust. I mean, I think all this is just from the heat. Yeah, put a new coat of paint on that and it should be good to go. Yeah, not much to taking these things out. Obviously, they weren't bolted in, but no time at all to take this stuff out. Yeah, you can see all these seats were just covers, like just Velcro covers. It's weird. I thought they were a lot nicer. This bottom seat is actually in okay shape, though. Just a little bit burnt right here. The frames might be savable on these, but who knows? Might just replace it all. Maybe do something modern, maybe. All right, I'm going to go ahead and maybe take off this door panel and also vacuum up the inside right here. With all this interior out, we've unveiled a few things I want to show you. First off, the floor pans look really good. There is a little bit of surface rust on the battery box, but usually that is the first place to go, like completely rust out. But for the most part, everything on the floor pan and rust-wise, it's pretty good in here. Haven't seen anything major sticking out. Usually the first things to go in the interior are the heater channels, which they all look to be in good shape. They are, however, all filled with spray foam, but that's a pretty normal thing, especially being down here in Florida. They don't even work. I've never owned a Volkswagen that the heat actually worked in here. First things that usually go rust-wise in these Volkswagens are right up here on the A-pillar. Obviously this thing is covering it, but usually you can see a lot of rust forming right down here, but this looks okay. We're all good here. But the one thing I want to show you is the original paint color and all the colors that's been painted. First off, they were yellow, then it looks like they went to this teal color right here, really sparkly teal color. And then they went to a red, and then they eventually went to this blue color it is now. We can look on other parts of the body where you can kind of see the layers. You can see this yellow color, then the blue color, a little bit of red peeking out, some primer, and the blue that it is currently. Around 5 different paint colors, but for being 50 years old, that sounds about right. Also, I forgot to mention that the wiring looks to be cut. Right in the back right here, and also up in the front, right there, where it hangs down. I'm not really sure why it's cut, maybe from like the firefighters. If a car catches on fire, sometimes they cut the battery, but not really sure. Really not a big deal though, we're gonna have to replace a lot of wiring anyway. Probably end up doing a whole new wiring harness. Now overall, the interior looks pretty good. Let's see if my other seats will actually fit in there. Let's take a trip to the backyard / junk spot. This right here is a collection of parts I have spanning from like 15 years ago. Up top, this is actually a roof off of a 1969 Beetle, I believe. These spots right behind the rear window are actually in really good shape, so I could actually cut that out and put it onto the new Beetle. Right here is a deck lid that is in really good shape. Down low, here are the seats. As you can see, they're not in perfect shape, but they are better than what that is. We got both front seats, and I believe we have the rest of it right there. Yeah, here's the rest of the seats. So we can go ahead and install those and put that back in there and make it look pretty. Back here, there's not much we can use. This is a front beam for an older Beetle, an exhaust, some more exhaust, and this right here is a deck lid. This one is actually really nice, and it's for an older year model. I would love to put this on the Beetle, but we do have to do a little bit of modifications to get it work. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull off these seats and see if we can get them into the Bug and maybe get some working seats in there. Ugh. All right, let's get to it. Thought there was a rat. Ooh. The soap. I'm gonna wash these up.
seems to be working.
That's good. Seats are in. From a distance it looks good, but these seats are in really bad shape also. They're very rusty from sitting outside for 10 years. Also, as you can see, some rats got to them and actually made a nest up in there. I don't think there's any rats in there now, but there was at one point. Just looking right here, you can see the seats and just the different shape they're in. This passenger seat is okay. It kind of functions. It's still a little crusty, but the main issue is the seat mount that attaches to the floor pan. It actually broke off when I was trying to put this thing on. But I'm not planning on having any passengers anytime soon. I hopefully can drive it pretty soon, but maybe not with other people. The back seat looks really good, actually. The rat holes are covered up, so you don't even see them, and it's kind of comfortable. Not too bad in the back. This driver's seat, on the other hand, you can see all the rust that's already fallen out. That's from the seat, not from the actual car. See how much it wiggles. I don't know if this one's savable. It would take a lot of work to save that thing. All that underneath is rusted, along with this folding mechanism. It is really rusted, so it doesn't even work. You can't fold it back or adjust the lumbar, so you're really low riding it if you're gonna drive in this driver's seat. These are definitely not gonna stay. We're gonna switch them out with something else. I wouldn't say we got a lot done in this episode, but we got a good starting point. Y'all got to walk through, you got to see what was going on, all the interior stuff that we need to replace, which is almost everything. Also, you got a sneak peek at this motor. I already ordered a bunch of stuff for that, like $700 worth, so I really hope I can fix it. Worst case, I can find a new motor and throw in there. That is all for episode 1 of this build series. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Is it savable? Is it too far gone? Any suggestions on what you guys would like to see done to this? Please let me know in the comments. You guys are going to be a big help in this build series, giving suggestions, giving paint color ideas, because likely we're going to be paint changing this. Or if the patina looks cool enough, maybe we'll keep it. I know how my audience feels about patina. Not too keen on it. Also, be sure to check out my Instagram for behind-the-scenes footage. If you were following me there, you would have known that this is a project that's coming up. Check me out there if you want to. Also, feel free to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can always unsubscribe in the future if you don't like my content. But it does help me right now and help build my audience. So thank you guys so much for subscribing and engaging in my videos and content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next episode on the motor. We'll see how it works. Bye.